Hey there, Synth Drones. Today we're going to be talking about why you're not making any money with your music, and this is part 7. Now I'm going to be including this video on my normal YouTube channel to give people a taste of what it is that I'm doing with these series, okay? So I'm Pure Ambient Drone. This is my channel where I vlog about synthesizers. So if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and tap that bell. Now, normally these videos are on patreon.com/Pure Ambient Drone. And I'm doing a special number 7 here so that everybody can get a taste of exactly what this series is about. And if you want to know more, go on over to my Patreon page and hook up with me over there, and you'll get to see the whole video series. Now, a real quick intro to this series is that basically I'm talking about some things that I do and I don't do, and that you should do and shouldn't do in order to generate more money. And this is more of a thinking pattern kind of a series rather than, you go do this and you go do that, because honestly, there isn't any magic formula. People are always asking, what can I do to make more money with my music? What can I do to get more notice? The answer is work, 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 work. I just cannot tell you. You have to be working. And then the next question is, well, what do I have to be working at? And the answer is, I'm sorry, it's everything. It's everything. But there are a few things that you need to keep in mind when you're working. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about today is branding. Branding, getting the name out there for yourself, putting yourself out there in front of other people with a name. And one of the mistakes that I made, it was a mistake for me, it may not be a mistake for you, but one of the mistakes I made for me was I was using my real name when I first started making music. And that's all fine and dandy if you got a name that people can remember. But I started thinking about stuff, and this is what I started thinking about when it comes to branding. And this is why I changed my name, is because there's times that I'll be looking around for a musician, an artist that I want to hear because I enjoyed one of their songs. And guess what? I couldn't tell you what their name was. And in most cases, they were using their real name or some strange, hard to spell, pronounced name that I couldn't remember, I couldn't spell, I couldn't think of. So branding is very important. So the first thing in branding that you have to do is you have to pick a name that people can remember. You have to pick a name that people can pretty much spell and pronounce. And you have to pick a name that when it's Googled or searched for in any search engine, doesn't call up 50, 20,000, billion, trillion other topics with that name on it, okay? So you don't want to name yourself Frying Pan, right? You don't want to name yourself after an animal like a tiger or a squirrel. The problem with doing that is that you're going to get a lot of search engines that are going to be putting the animal tiger on the first 50 pages, right? So no one's going to be able to really find you, and you have to be searchable, right? I mean, we live in a world of digital technology where everybody's on the internet, and I use that term loosely, everybody, but anybody that's going to be buying your music is going to be on the internet if you're going to be doing some kind of distribution. And that's what we're focusing on, is digital distribution. The other thing I want to talk about is when your branding is that you need to choose a look for yourself, look for your logo. Your name, your artist name should be your logo. Take a look at AC/DC's logo. They have the lightning bolt down the middle, and they always have the letters spelled the same way on their album covers. The font that they use. Judas Priest is another one that you can look at. They have a very defined logo, if you will. I'm sure you guys can think of some other things. I believe Dokken, that's an old 80s band some of you may or may not have heard of. These guys are branding themselves. I know another one. Is it Kiss? I think Kiss has a special logo too. And you can tell I'm a rock guy, right? I love electronic music, but on the guitar side of things, I'm a rock guy. These bands, they have learned that your logo is very important. But even speaking with other products, you'll look at other products, and products have what they call logos, things that you remember. McDonald's has the arch, and Burger King has the circular burger, and it looks like a burger, and it says Burger King in the middle of the bun. So there are things that these companies have learned about branding, and they're exercising them. The other thing is that when you are releasing music, right? Let's just say you're working on an album right now, and you've got, I don't know, 9 songs done, 10 songs. Let's just keep an even number of 10 songs. Your first instinct would be you want to release the album, and you're not going to release any music until that album is finished. And if you're like most musicians, you guys will tweak that album until the next century, okay? Here's what I've learned about branding, and this is really important. This is a power tip, guys. If you want to make more money, if you want to get your name out there more often, the number one thing to do is when you get your music finished, just your first track, then your second, then your third, you should be releasing singles. So let's say you have 10 songs on an album. You should release one single at least once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, or 3, or even once a month. Now, why would you do that? Simply because when music is released on some of these online music stores, if not all of them or most of them, new music bubbles to the top immediately. Sort of like when YouTube gets new videos, they pump out the newer stuff at the top of the list. So now you're staying relevant to the listeners in your genre. And that's important because they'll pick up your music and see it more often. Even if they don't click on it in the beginning, let's say you do this, for a year, and you come out with 2 or 3 albums a year, which, by the way, is very possible. And they don't click on your music all the time. Eventually, they're going to be used to hearing or seeing your music online, and they're going to eventually click on it out of curiosity because they're always seeing you there in the new music list. And for those who already know you, they're going to be reminded of you. And if they like what you're doing, they're going to click on your name, okay? And that's where your logo is very important. Boom. They click on your name, your album cover comes up, and they're familiar with your logo. My first album, Ambient Bliss, did not have my defined logo. And you can go to Spotify or Google Play or iTunes or any other place you want to go to and look up my album covers and notice that besides that one album, the rest of my albums all have my logo. And over the years, it had been tweaked a little bit, but so minor that you really can't tell by the naked eye just glancing over at it, because there were some things quality-wise that I wanted to enhance. And that's okay to tweak your logo as well. Just, sooner or later you got to settle on something, and that's what I settled on. And it's not that it's a special logo or anything like that. It's just that it's a recognizable logo. When people see my logo, they, and they know my music and they know me, they're going to know who they're dealing with. They're going to know that it's me. And this is what you need to do when it comes to branding. The other thing I want to talk about branding here is that when you are branding, you always want to be using your artist name, okay? When you're corresponding with people as much as possible, you want to be corresponding with your artist name. That means that if you use Facebook, you should get a Facebook page and direct as many people as you can to Facebook. Now, just a really quick note about Facebook, even Twitter and some other social media sites. By nature, these social media sites are designed to devour traffic for themselves, okay? Facebook definitely wants your traffic, right? And what they do with that traffic is they display ads, and hopefully people will click on those ads, and hopefully people will buy from those ads. And Facebook, along with other social media sites, make their money from those ads. So just remember that when you're using social media, that you've got a competitor running against you right then and there. So just always keep that in mind. That for me, these websites, these social media websites, they don't convert very well because the user behind the computer isn't or is bombarded by all sorts of other things. Not only are you competing with ads on social media, but you're also competing against other people who are interacting with you and your pages, okay? So other users come along and they have all these different choices. But what social media is good for and why artists use it is because it's great branding. It gets the name out there. And that's important, especially if you have a name for your, an artist name that people can remember, pronounce, okay? And it's not so common that when they look for it, they're not going to find you. So to recap, social media is very important for branding. I'm not saying it doesn't convert over to album sales or track sales. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that it's a very competitive by nature, okay, marketplace to try to advertise your music. A lot of people that I talk to, they say, well, what about Facebook groups? Facebooks are groups are great places to learn. I have one too. You can check it out in the comments below and along with the description of this video. Love to see you guys over there, by the way. They're great places to learn. I don't think they're great places to really advertise your music. I tried out some of the places that just they're focused, the groups that are focused just on music alone, and I noticed that a lot of artists they're just packed. These type of groups are packed with artists that are going there for the same reason. They're just posting their music, and nobody's really listening to anything. I'm not saying that nobody ever listens to anything there, because they do, but I'm just saying that it's a that's a very competitive market to be in. The best branding that I have learned is to release a track at least once a month. I would say once a week if you can do it. This is where the work comes into play. You got to be really, really working hard to be releasing music once a week. And that's exactly what I do. I release a track a week, give or take. There's some weeks that I slack, but at least once a month I shoot for. But most of the time it's once a week. The other thing is that you want a website. You want your own website. You don't want a free website. You don't want a website that you could lose one day, so you want to get your own domain name. And I go to GoDaddy.com to get my domain names. I just like the way they have it structured there, but I don't host with them. I used to a long time ago, and in my experience, my site at that time, it experienced a lot of problems. I don't know what the problem was, but the site went down a lot. So I moved over to a company called Namecheap.com. That's what I use now. It's just what I like. I like those guys. I've had them for several years with no problems. So I'm not getting paid by any of these people to tell you this. I'm just sharing this with you guys to let you know. There's no endorsement here, no benefits. I'm not getting anything for free for telling you this. But when you're designing your website and you want to brand, what you want to make sure of is that on your website, and I made this mistake in the past too, you don't put tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff that the visitor comes to look at, click at, and next thing you know, they're lost, okay? What I've learned is most people don't read a whole lot online. They skip through things. They look for bullet lists, right? They look for topic listings, like headlines, and they just kind of scan rather than read. That's how I surf the internet. If something really intrigues me or I really need to go in deep, I will read. But for the most part, when people go to an artist site, they don't really spend a whole lot of time trying to read everything about you, everything, what you had for breakfast that morning. That's cool if you want to do that stuff, okay? But I kind of leave my personal side to the social media. Like I said, that's great for branding. So when you go to my Facebook group, you're going to find, or my Facebook page, you're going to find more information there about what I do, right? Versus on my website, you're going to see everything that I do. And so keep your website clean, keep it simple, and keep it selling. That's what your website is for. Your website is to sell, sell, sell. There's nothing wrong with that. The consumer is coming there for a product and you want to give it to them. Have you ever been in the store and you're looking for something that you want and or need very badly? And that is the one time you can't find a salesperson or a sales clerk to come up and say, "Hi, is there anything I can help you with?" They always seem to come up to you and ask you that question when you don't need their help. And then when you're looking for them, it's like they sense it and they scatter, they run away. I don't know what's up with that. That's just my experience. But you ever go into a store and you can't find what you're looking for, it's frustrating, right? And if you experience that enough times, you're going to stop going to that store and go to the store that has their store laid out where you can find everything. You look at Walmart, they got a pharmacy, right? You go to the pharmacy, that's where you find pharmacy stuff. You go to the baby aisle, that's where you find baby diapers. You go to the grocery section, that's where you find groceries. So your website should be laid out where the people that visit there are coming there to find your music, and they should be able to find your music. So if you go to my website, pureambientdrone.com, you can check out what I've done there, and you can click on the links and you can see how I laid it out to make it very simple, very easy for people to find me. And then your website should always be branding as well. Look at my website, and just by my album covers, you'll see that I have Pure Ambient Drone all over that place, all over that place. And don't worry about search engine traffic on your website, because the bottom line is, if your name is on it, right, and you've set it up where the search engine can find your name on it, then that's really all the consumer needs to find you. Because honestly, if they want to find your website, they're just going to type in, like for me, Pure Ambient Drone, and I'm going to come up on the first page of Google. And that's what you want, right? That's what you need. So you don't even have to really pay a search engine company to come in and optimize your page or anything like that. But just check out pureambientdrone.com and see how I got it laid out there, and click on some links, and then you can go inside, Google Play, Spotify. You can see all my links, how I'm doing things. And you can see that your website should be branding, and your website should be easy to navigate. And don't open new windows with people. I found out that when people click on stuff and a new window open up, a lot of people don't like that. If they want that option, they can right click and say open up a new window. I always like to take the person away from the website into the sales place. And this is just a bonus tip for you, by the way. When they click on one of your links, they should be leaving your website and going straight for the sell. I used to own a telemarketing company, and prior to that, I was trained in telemarketing. Don't hate me, guys. It was a living. It was what I had to do. And in the telemarketing business, they train you over and over and over again to get the sell. And once you get the sell, you shut up about the product and you move in to the charging part, where they make the money, okay, where they take the money. You want to bring the customer away from the product and into the sell. And that's why I say, when you have something on your website where they're going to click out to buy something, take them away from the website and take them into the sell. That's a bonus tip for you. Now, I appreciate you guys being here and watching my videos here on YouTube. And like I said, this is a special edition. It's number 7 of why you're not making any money with your music. It's found on my patreon.com/Pure Ambient Drone page. And here's the thing. I've been working for myself ever since I was about 15 years old, man. About 15 years old, I've been running my own businesses, and I have always made money for myself. I'm not promising you guys that you're going to be rich doing this. That is not the goal. That's a whole other level to get into when you want to be rich with the music, okay? What I'm saying is that you can make $1, $2, $3 or $4 or $5, even $6,000, $7,000 a month doing this. And that's income in your pocket that you normally wouldn't have doing music that you love to do. And so what I'm saying is, in these series, we're not trying to compete with big name stars that are out there that are on television, and they're being promoted by big promotions, and they're filling up big stages, and tens of billions of people are coming to see them every year in concert. We're not trying to compete with those people. And it's okay to dream that big if that's your dream. And if that's your dream, then that's great. Go for it. But for the rest of us, there's enough food floating down to the bottom that we bottom feeders can have a pretty good life here on the bottom, feeding off what's left over from the big stuff. So what I'm saying is that a lot of people fail making money with their music because they I'm sorry to say this, okay, hate me if you want to, but they dream too big. They dream way too big beyond their means. There are some dreams in life that are beyond a person's reach. And I know people don't like to hear that. I know people like to say, well, anything's possible if you only believe. And that's not true. It's just not true in life. You can believe all you want to, but reality is reality. Circumstances are circumstances. It is what it is. So if you can accept your circumstances and you could say to yourself, because I had to say this to myself, I'm not going to fill arenas. I'm not going to bring in billions of dollars or millions of dollars. But what I am going to do, and I know I can do this, I know I'm capable of this because I've done it in the past, I've seen other people do it, is that I can make a fantastic living off my music, and I'll be doing what I like to do, what I love to do. And I'll be able to enjoy synthesizers, and I'll be able to buy all the gear that I want. Today, I sit in a position where I can buy any synthesizer that I want within reason. I mean, we're not talking about $60,000 synthesizers, but anything out there on the market today that's available, say brand new, I can buy it because I'm in a position to where I can financially afford it. I'm not bragging to you guys. I don't want you to think it that way. But in the 90s, I had a computer business, and everybody told me I couldn't do it. And I opened up a computer business out of my house. And you know how I did it? I branded myself. I came up with a really cool name for my computer store, my computer business. Started out of my bedroom, and I worked myself into a business that paid over $380,000 a year in a small town of a population of 3,000 people. Now, there was a military base 1 mile away from it, and I got a lot of that business too, okay? But $380,000 is what I was making in the computer business. And you know what? I got out of that when the getting out was good. I saw the market closing on that, and I got out of the business. That's what you do. When you see a door closing, you jump out and you get into the next one. But we're out of the scope of the realm of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you want to see the whole series of this, jump on over to my Patreon site. And remember, it's patreon.com/pureambientdrone. And just remember, these series is not like this is how you do it, and this is what you do, and this is when you should do it. These are things that you should be doing all the time. This is a mindset. You've got to train yourself to get into this. You're not going to be able to do this just because I told you once, just because I told you twice. Go back and re-listen to the videos. Hear what I'm trying to say. You have to change yourself inside. Only you can change you. I can't change you. Your mommy can't change you. Your daddy, your loved ones, they can't change you. You have got to get up in the morning and you got to do this work, and you got to have a mindset that says you can do this. You can make a living at music if you want to. If that's not your desire, then this video series isn't for you. Maybe you can find something else over at patreon.com on my page that is for you. But until next time, I am Pure Ambient Drone. I want to thank you guys for listening. Please hit that subscribe button and keep calm and synth on.